Chosen one. Listen carefully. You are not here by accident. The storms you walked through were not ordinary storms. The pain you carried was not random. It was the signature of heaven upon your life. God gave you the hardest test, not because He wanted to break you, but because He knew you were strong enough in Him to overcome. Think of how many nights you wrestled with doubt. How many mornings you woke up wondering if the weight would ever lift. Yet here you are, still standing. That is not weakness, that is victory. Sometimes victory does not shout with trumpets. Sometimes it whispers in quiet resilience, I made it through. No, there were moments when it felt like heaven was silent. You prayed, and nothing changed. You fasted, and the answer didn't come. It was as if God Himself had left you in a sacred silence. But in that silence, your faith was being refined. Just like a muscle only grows when it is pushed to its limit, your spirit was being strengthened by the very pressure you thought would crush you. Let me tell you a story. There was once a woman who waited for years for her promise. People around her moved on marriages, children, careers, while she remained in the same place. She cried in secret, questioning why she was left behind. Yet in that waiting, she discovered a deeper intimacy with God that others never tasted. And when her season finally shifted, she stepped into blessings beyond what she had imagined. Her waiting was not wasted, it was training. That story could be yours. Your trials may have looked like rejection, but rejection was really God's redirection. He closed doors that would have led you into destruction. He took away opportunities that looked golden but were traps in disguise. What felt like loss was actually preservation. Every no you heard was a louder yes to your true calling. See yourself as iron in the furnace. Fire does not destroy iron, it strengthens and purifies it. In the same way, every trial you endured revealed your unbreakable core. The fire could not consume you, because you were chosen to rise from it shining. It is written in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. This is your testimony. You did not give up in the middle. You did not abandon the journey when the road grew steep. You fought. You endured. You finished each season with faith still alive in your heart. That is why heaven celebrates you now. You passed the test that was meant to destroy you. Chosen one. Let that sink in. Every scar on your soul is proof that you survived what others could not. Every unanswered prayer was shaping patience inside of you. Every betrayal was sharpening your discernment. You thought you were being buried, but you were really being planted. And now, life is beginning to sprout from the very ground where you once cried. If this word resonates in your spirit, I encourage you, share it so others can find hope. Subscribe so you remain connected to every future message prepared for your journey. And in the comments, leave this number as a prophetic act, 222, a sign that God is aligning your steps, confirming your path, and doubling His favor over your life. Your test was heavy, but your calling is heavier. And today, your victory stands as undeniable proof that you are, indeed, one of God's chosen ones. Chosen one. Let me remind you of something crucial. Passing the hardest test doesn't mean the road ahead will be without challenges. It means you now walk with the authority of one who has already proven faithful. You carry the testimony of endurance. and that testimony will become a weapon in the battles still to come. The enemy trembles, not because you never fell, but because you rose again every single time. Your life is now a living parable. Others will look at you and wonder how you survived, what crushed them. They will ask for your secret, and you will point them not to your own strength, but to the one who carried you through. That is why your voice matters. Do not hide what you have walked through, because your scars are not shame. They are evidence of glory. So step boldly. Your crown is not just waiting for eternity. It begins now. Every place you set your foot will carry the fragrance of victory. And as you move forward, remember this. You are not only surviving, you are leading. Others will follow the light that shines from your endurance. You have known what it feels like to be rejected, doors slammed, people you trusted walked away, communities you thought would embrace you misunderstood you instead. And yet, though rejection has pressed on your soul like a heavy stone, you were never truly forsaken. Heaven's hand was steady upon you, even when human hands pushed you aside. Rejection is one of the most painful lessons of the chosen ones. It pierces deeper than failure, because it questions your worth. You ask yourself, why me? Why am I the one who doesn't fit? But rejection is not proof of your lack, it is proof of your difference. God has always set apart those he loves most, for purposes that cannot be explained in the language of the crowd. Think of David, overlooked by his own father. When Samuel came to anoint a king, his brothers despised him. Yet that rejection was the doorway to his destiny. Had he been chosen by men too quickly, he might never have been chosen by God in fullness. The same is true for you. The places that said no to you were simply not your throne. Rejection is also protection. The friendships that broke, the alliances that crumbled, the opportunities that vanished, all of them looked like losses. But every one of them was God's way of sparing you from snares. Imagine if you had stepped through certain doors that were denied to you, how your soul would have been entangled, how your peace would have been stolen. By closing those doors, God wrote mercy into your story. There was once a man who sought to join a certain company, dreaming it would be his career breakthrough. Time and again, he applied. And time and again, he was rejected, humiliated. He doubted his value. Yet years later, that same company collapsed under corruption. Had he been accepted, his life would have been wrecked. Looking back, he wept not because he was rejected, but because he had been rescued without knowing it. So it is with you. Those who rejected you did not realize they were pushing you deeper into the arms of God. Each no became a redirection toward the path designed specifically for your steps. And the Word testifies of this reality, according to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 21. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Your plans may have seemed perfect. Your heart may have longed for acceptance in certain places, but heaven had a greater blueprint, and though rejection bruised you, God's prevailing purpose was never shaken. Rejection also stripped you of false dependencies. You learned, through pain, that people are fragile and their approval fleeting. You discovered that even those who seemed closest could misinterpret your calling. Yet in losing their affirmation, you gained heaven's approval, and that is worth infinitely more. Consider this image. A diamond in the rough is often mistaken for a useless stone. It is cast aside, dismissed, ignored. But only the master jeweler recognizes its worth. That jeweler sees through the dust, through the jagged edges, into the brilliance hidden within. Chosen one, the world may have mistaken you for worthless, but heaven, the master craftsman, knew your brilliance and kept you for his own timing. So rejection, painful as it was, became the womb of your resilience. It taught you to rise without applause, to walk without being understood, to carry weight without recognition. It forced you to anchor your identity in God's love rather than in people's opinions. That, in truth, is the highest form of freedom. You are not forsaken. Even when human voices grew silent or harsh, the whisper of God never ceased. His Spirit carried you when others dropped you. His faithfulness became your constant, unshakable companion. And now you carry within you a testimony that cannot be erased. You survived rejection, and you discovered that being chosen by God is worth more than being accepted by the world. Rejection was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your unveiling. What people failed to see in you, God had already planted long ago. Every no was secretly shaping you for the greater yes that only heaven could give. You were never abandoned. In truth, you were being hidden, preserved like precious oil, sealed in a jar, waiting for the appointed time to be poured out. So, now, walk forward with confidence. You no longer need the approval of the crowd. You carry the stamp of divine selection, and that is enough. You have walked through seasons when heaven seemed silent, not just quiet, but deafening in its stillness. You prayed, and no answer came. You sought with all your heart, yet no vision appeared. The silence stretched so long that you questioned whether God had turned his face away. But the truth is this: silence is not absence. Silence is often the classroom of the chosen. Every great warrior of faith has known this chamber of holy quiet. Moses knew it on the backside of the desert for 40 years. Hannah knew it as she wept in the temple, her womb closed, yet her prayers unending. Even Jesus himself felt it when he cried, my God, why have you forsaken me?" The silence is not rejection, it is divine training, teaching you to hear in deeper frequencies. Picture yourself standing on a dark shoreline at night. The waves roar, the wind howls, yet far in the distance, there is a lighthouse. You cannot hear its light, you can only trust it shines. In the same way, during the silence of heaven, you were learning to trust God's presence even when his voice seemed far away. Let me tell you a story. A young believer once cried out daily for guidance. Days turned into months, and still nothing came. She began to despair. But slowly she realized something. She was learning to walk by faith, not by sight. When her breakthrough finally arrived, she discovered that the silence had already prepared her heart to carry the answer with humility. If God had spoken too soon, she would have missed the lesson of endurance. And the scriptures remind us of this mystery. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 27, verse 14. Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord. Waiting is never wasted. In silence, your roots grow deeper. In stillness, your discernment sharpens. When no answer comes, your spirit learns to cling to the only certainty that God is still God. The silence of God's classroom may have felt unbearable, but it was shaping you. It was stripping away shallow dependence and drawing out unshakable trust. You learned that faith is not measured by how loudly you hear God's voice, but by how steadily you walk when He seems quiet. Now I ask you, chosen one, can you testify to this? If your spirit resonates with this truth, then declare it boldly in the comments. Silence taught me. These 3 words are not just reflection, they are revelation. They say, I endured the quiet and came out stronger. They proclaim to the world and to the unseen realm that the silence of God was not your end, it was your preparation. Do you see the pattern now? You were never abandoned in the silence. The teacher was simply quiet during the test, but his eyes were always upon you. Heaven watched as you persevered, and today you carry the weight of one who knows the silence of God, not as punishment, but as the highest form of preparation. Silence does not mean absence, it means trust. God trusted you enough to be quiet, because He knew your faith could stand, even without constant reassurance. Just as a teacher does not speak during the test, so God was watching you, measuring the depth of your endurance. In those seasons, you discovered how to listen differently. You began to notice God in the little things, in the stillness of a sunrise, in the encouragement of a stranger, in the verse that suddenly lit up while you were reading. The silence opened your ears to hear the whispers you once ignored. You also learned that silence reveals idols. When the noise of answers disappears, your heart is exposed. Do you truly seek Him, or only what He gives? Through silence, God purified your motives, peeling away layers until only pure love remained. Think of the farmer who allows soil to rest in winter. It looks barren, empty, unproductive, but in reality, the soil is regaining strength for the harvest to come. That was you, in your silent season, resting, regaining hidden strength, preparing for fruitfulness greater than before. And when God finally spoke again, His voice was not a whisper lost in the wind, it was a roar that shook the walls of your doubt. You realized that the silence had sharpened your hearing. What once would have been missed now became undeniable. So today, carry this lesson forward. Silence was not wasted time. It was sacred time. It was God's way of building a faith that does not need to see, does not need to hear, but simply knows He is always with you, even when heaven is quiet. Hidden seasons are some of the most difficult for a chosen one. They do not come with applause. They do not come with recognition. They feel like obscurity, invisibility, and sometimes even shame. You know what it is to labor faithfully and yet feel unseen. You know what it is to pour your heart out before God while the world seems to pass you by. But in truth, these hidden seasons are among the most sacred. God uses secrecy and obscurity to shape endurance. Just as a sculptor covers the statue with cloth until the chiseling is complete, so God hides His chosen until their preparation is ready. You may have cried out, "Why am I overlooked? Why does no one see the value I carry?" But heaven saw, heaven knew, and heaven was deliberate in allowing the hiddenness to remain until the right moment. Consider Joseph, sold into slavery, locked in prison, forgotten by men. Yet in that obscurity, he learned humility. He learned how to govern his own spirit before he was given authority to govern a nation. The years of hiddenness were not wasted. They were shaping his character for the palace. Hiddenness also teaches you reliance. When no crowd is cheering, When no audience is clapping, you learn to move for God alone. That is one of the purest forms of worship, serving in silence, unseen by men, but fully seen by heaven. Every act of obedience you gave in secret was recorded in the eternal books, treasures stored where moth and rust cannot corrupt. There is also the mystery of patience. Hiddenness stretches time, and time tests motives. Are you serving for recognition or for God's glory? Will you keep building when no one acknowledges you? This is the crucible of true faithfulness. And many are found unworthy here, not because they are weak, but because they cannot endure being unseen. But you, chosen one, endured it. You stayed when others left. You built in silence. You prayed in solitude. And that is why your foundation is unshakable now. Think of the seed buried in the soil. No one applauds the seed. No one notices it. In fact, from the surface, it looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the soil, hidden from sight, life is forming. Roots are spreading. Strength is developing. By the time the sprout pierces through the ground, it is already prepared to stand. That is what your hiddenness has been root building. Unseen, but essential. The scriptures point us toward this mystery, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 6. When you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. Quote, notice that the Father sees what is done in secret. Nothing you did in obscurity was wasted. Every whispered prayer, every quiet act of kindness, every unseen sacrifice, it was all noticed by the one whose eyes never sleep. And the reward, when it comes, will not be ordinary. It will carry the weight of heaven's acknowledgement. Let me give you a picture. Imagine an archer drawing back his bow. The arrow is pulled further and further behind, and for a moment it seems to be retreating, moving in the wrong direction. But the further it is drawn back, the greater the power when it is released. Your hidden season was God pulling you back, stretching you, preparing you. When release comes, it will carry force far beyond anything you imagined. Hiddenness also humbles. It strips away pride. In obscurity, you face the raw questions. Who am I when no one is watching? Do I still worship with passion? Do I still serve with excellence? These are refining fires that burn away ego and leave only purity. And that purity is the fragrance of heaven. There was once a man who served for years in a small, unnoticed corner of his community. No titles, no recognition, no platform. Many dismissed him. Yet, when a crisis struck, people suddenly discovered the depth of wisdom and strength he carried. Hiddenness had not weakened him, it had preserved him. And, in the moment of need, he rose like a pillar no storm could shake. So it will be with you. Your hidden season is not wasted, it is sacred. It has been the silent forge of your strength, the unseen classroom of your character, the hidden garden where your roots sank deep. When your unveiling comes, people may marvel at how strong you stand, but you will know it was the hiddenness that made you unshakable. There were times when enemies tried to sharpen themselves against you. Their words cut like knives. Their actions pierced like arrows. And yet, chosen one, every wound they intended for your destruction only served to shape you into a sharper weapon in the hands of God. Their opposition became your training ground. Think of it this way: the sword that shines brightest is the one that endured the hardest hammering. Every strike on the metal is painful to the blade, but necessary for its strength. Your enemies thought they were breaking you, but in reality, they were only adding to your resilience. Without them, you would not carry the same fire you carry now. There was once a woman who worked under a cruel superior day after day. She was mocked, belittled, and excluded. She wept in secret, but chose to keep her heart tender before God. Years later, when she was promoted far beyond that place, she discovered the insults had been her sharpening. She was now strong enough to lead with humility and compassion because she had known what it was like to be mistreated. Her pain became her preparation. You see, enemies are like sandpaper. They scrape. They irritate. They seem unbearable, but in the end, they polish you until you shine. What the enemy meant for harm, God used for glory. And even now, the very people who doubted you are witnesses of your endurance. And the word gives us perspective. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 8, verse 31. If God is for us, who can be against us? This is why you endured. Not because you were stronger than the attacks, but because God was stronger than all who rose against you. Now, I want to pause here for something important. You've been receiving these words that strengthen, heal, and lift your spirit. If this message has touched your life, I invite you, like a traveler who has found a well in the desert, to share the water. By simply liking, sharing, and subscribing, you help others who are still thirsty find this same well. And for those who feel stirred in their spirit, there is also the invitation to go further. To donate is like planting a lamp along the pathway. You may never walk there yourself, but someone lost in the dark will see the light and find their way. It is not a requirement, not a burden, but a gift of love that multiplies far beyond what you can imagine. Your one act, whether a share, a word, or a gift, is a seed. And seeds never remain as they are. They grow, they bloom, they become trees under which many can rest. If your heart whispers yes, then let it be an offering of joy. If not, let these words alone be your portion today. Now, let us return to your story. Do you realize that your enemies have become your silent witnesses? Their opposition proved your authenticity. Their resistance forced you to rise higher. Just as the storm proves the strength of the anchor, so their attacks proved the depth of your faith. Think again of Joseph. His brothers sold him, lied about him, and tried to erase him. But in the end, their betrayal positioned him for the palace. Without their cruelty, he would never have stood before Pharaoh. Likewise, without the opposition you faced, you would not stand as tall as you do today. So today, do not despise the sharpening. Thank God for it. For every enemy who rose against you has only added to the testimony of your endurance. You shine brighter because of what they tried to dim. You are sharper because of what they tried to blunt. And your story carries a weight that no enemy can erase. Your enemies thought they were writing your ending, but all they did was help compose the prelude to your rise. What they meant as stumbling blocks became stepping stones beneath your feet. Every word against you has now turned into a testimony that only magnifies the glory of God in your life. You are no longer the same. The sharpening has given you a depth, a strength, and a light that cannot be ignored. Those who once laughed will now have to acknowledge the undeniable truth you were carried, preserved, and lifted by a power greater than yourself. So lift your head high. You have endured the blows of opposition and discovered that nothing forged against you could prevail. Now you walk forward, not with bitterness, but with boldness, knowing the very fire that tried to consume you has become the light that shines through you. What almost destroyed you was the very thing that built you. Pressure has a strange way of becoming both an enemy and a friend. At first, it feels unbearable, like the walls are closing in and the air is too thin to breathe. You cried out, "God, I cannot carry this any longer." And yet, somehow, the very weight you thought would crush you became the reason you are stronger today. Pressure is like the hand of a potter pressing into clay. To the clay, the touch feels harsh, unrelenting, even painful. But without that pressure, the clay would never take shape. It would remain formless, fragile, unfinished. You are the vessel, and every press, every squeeze, every season that seemed too hard was the hand of the potter, shaping you for a purpose you could not yet see. There was a man who lost everything: his home, his business, even his closest friends. For a time, he thought his life was over, but it was in the ruins that he discovered who he truly was. Stripped of everything, he rebuilt his life on a foundation of faith that could never again be shaken. What looked like destruction became the construction site of destiny. That is what has been happening in you. You see, diamonds are not born in comfort. They are formed under the crushing weight of earth and the heat of fire. Without that, they remain as ordinary carbon common, unnoticed, unremarkable. But under pressure, they transform into something radiant and unbreakable. Chosen one, you are that diamond. The weight you endured has revealed your true brilliance, and the scriptures echo this truth, as the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians. Second letter, chapter 4, verse 17. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. And notice those words. Glory outweighs trouble. That means the scale is always tilted in your favor. Your suffering is temporary, but the strength, wisdom, and eternal weight of glory it produces in you will last forever. Pressure also exposes what is inside. Just as grapes must be crushed for new wine to flow, your seasons of pressure released gifts you never knew you carried. Compassion for others, patience that holds steady, courage that stands firm. Without the crushing, these treasures might have stayed hidden forever. Imagine holding a jar of olive oil. That oil did not appear by accident. It came from olives pressed until every drop was released. Likewise, the anointing you now carry came because you allowed yourself to be pressed in God's hands. Every prayer through tears, every step taken when your legs were weary, every yes whispered when you wanted to quit, that was the pressing. And now, the oil flows from your life to bless others. But let's be honest, in the middle of pressure, it never feels holy. It feels unfair, exhausting, unbearable. You asked, "Why me?" You wondered if God had abandoned you. And yet, He was closer than ever, standing like a refiner by the furnace, never taking His eyes off you, ensuring the fire would not consume you. but only purify. The story of Job reminds us of this mystery. Everything was stripped away, and still he declared, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." That trust became his turning point, and in the end, his restoration doubled what he had lost. You may not see the full restoration yet, but heaven has already marked it for you. Now, let me invite you into an act of faith. If this word resonates with you, comment 444, because 444 is the number of foundation and stability in Scripture. The number 4 points to the four corners of the earth and the completeness of God's design. Writing 444 is your declaration that the crushing did not destroy you, it established you. Think of a building rising tall. Its beauty depends on its hidden foundation. That foundation was laid under pressure, pressed deep into the earth where no one could see. In the same way, your unseen trials have become the strength beneath your destiny. Others may admire the structure of your life, but you and God know it was the pressure that gave you depth. So lift your eyes. The very storms that tried to drown you have only taught you to walk on water. The fire that tried to consume you has only revealed that there was another walking in the flames with you. You did not just survive pressure, you were transformed by it. One day, when you look back, you will not remember the crushing as defeat. You will remember it as the holy weight that formed you into someone unshakable, radiant, and chosen. And others will look at your life and see a living testimony. The harder the pressure, the greater the glory. Patience is a test unlike any other. For some, it feels more unbearable than fire, more suffocating than rejection, more exhausting than battle. Because waiting is not simply about time, it is about surrender. It is about walking slowly while every part of you longs to run. It is about standing still when the world rushes past you. You know this test well. You have watched others step into opportunities while you stood in the shadows. You have seen doors swing wide open for those around you, while the one you knocked on remained closed. And you asked, "Why? Lord, why not me? Why not now?" Yet patience is the test heaven uses to separate the faithful from the fleeting. Think of Israel in the wilderness. The promise was before them. Yet God led them in circles for 40 years. Why? Because the wilderness was not wasted, it was the training ground of trust. A generation had to be shaped, humbled, stripped of idols, before they could step into the land flowing with milk and honey. What looked like delay was actually preparation. Patience also reveals the depth of your heart. Anyone can worship when blessings pour quickly, but it takes a true chosen one to remain steady in seasons of waiting, to keep showing up, to keep praying when prayers seem unanswered, to keep planting seeds when the ground looks barren. This kind of patience is not passive, it is active, endurance. Consider the farmer. He does not plant a seed and dig it up the next day to see if it grew. He waits, tending the soil, watering faithfully, trusting that life is stirring beneath the surface. That is what your waiting has been, like an act of trust that something invisible is working, even when your eyes cannot see it. And the Word teaches us clearly. We find in the book of James, chapter 1, verses 3 and 4, "Because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." 11. Do you hear that? Waiting does not diminish you, it matures you. Perseverance is not punishment, it is polish. Every moment you endured without giving up was adding layers of strength, wisdom, and spiritual maturity to your soul. Let me share a story. There was a man who dreamed of becoming a teacher of the word. Year after year, he studied, prayed, and prepared. But no platform came. Others, with less passion, seemed to rise quickly, while he was left behind. For nearly a decade he remained hidden, waiting. Then, when the time was finally right, he was given influence beyond what he imagined. And because he had waited, his words carried depth. His spirit carried weight. The waiting had prepared him for a responsibility he would not have been able to bear earlier. Patience also protects. Imagine if blessings came too soon. Before you were ready, the very thing you prayed for could crush you instead of lift you, like a child asking to drive a carriage before they can walk. Sometimes what you desire is dangerous until maturity comes. God's delays are not denials, they are shields, keeping you safe until you are strong enough to handle what He has promised. Picture a bridge being built. Workers labor for months, sometimes years, and to the eye of the passerby, it looks like nothing is happening, but most of the work is underground foundations deep in the earth. Unseen, slow, patient. Only when that foundation is complete can the bridge bear the weight it was designed for. That has been your waiting. Hidden construction, unseen, strengthening. Patience, building a foundation strong enough to carry your destiny. And waiting has another gift. It teaches empathy, because you have known what it feels like to wait. You will carry compassion for those still waiting. You will not mock their tears or rush their journey. Instead, you will walk beside them, reminding them that delay is not defeat. Chosen one. Though patience has stretched you, it has not been empty. It has forged in you endurance that few carry. It has made your spirit steady, your faith immovable, your hope untouchable. While others burned out in their rush, you endured in your stillness. And now, when the appointed time comes, you will step forward, not half prepared, but whole complete, mature, and unshakable. Patience was never meant to break you. It was meant to anchor you. In the slowness, you learned that God's timing is not late, but perfect, arriving in ways no human schedule could predict. Now, as you stand on the edge of your next season, you carry the calm of one who knows. What is built patiently cannot be easily shaken. Loneliness has been one of your deepest teachers. It has not been a pleasant classroom, but it has been a sacred one. There were nights when silence echoed so loudly that you wondered if even God Himself had forgotten you. There were days when your footsteps felt like the only sound on the earth, when conversations dried up, and companionship seemed like a distant dream. You knew what it was to be surrounded by people, yet feel invisible, to laugh in public and cry in private. But loneliness was never punishment, it was divine training. The wilderness of solitude has always been a place where God prepares His chosen ones. Moses knew it when he fled into Midian and shepherded sheep alone for 40 years. Elijah knew it when he hid by the brook Cherith, fed by ravens. Even Jesus knew it when He withdrew to desolate places to pray. Loneliness is the soil where intimacy with God is planted. When you had no one else to run to, you discovered the secret place. You learned that conversations with heaven could be more real than any earthly exchange. You began to sense that his presence filled the room, even when no human voice answered back. And slowly, the loneliness that once felt like a prison became a sanctuary. There was once a young woman who felt abandoned after a painful breakup. Friends turned away, and nights became unbearably long. But in those lonely hours, she began journaling her prayers, pouring out her heart to God as if writing letters to a dear friend. Over time, she realized she was not writing into the void, she was being written into. Her words turned into dialogues. Her loneliness became the doorway to intimacy with the one who never leaves. Loneliness also teaches discernment. When voices are stripped away, distractions removed, you begin to hear the subtle tones of God's whisper. Like the prophet Elijah on Mount Horeb, you discover that God is not in the wind, or the earthquake, or the fire, but in the still small voice. Had your life remained crowded, you might never have learned to recognize that whisper, and the scriptures affirm this gift of solitude. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Hosea. Chapter 2, verse 14. Therefore I am now going to allure her. I will lead her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. End of free. Do you see it? God leads into the wilderness not to abandon, but to speak tenderly. Your loneliness has been God's invitation, His way of drawing you close enough to hear His heart. Loneliness also purifies motives. Without an audience, you learn to worship for God's eyes alone. Without applause, you learn to serve without recognition. This is one of the rarest treasures, to act in secret, knowing that the Father sees and that His seeing is enough. Think of the eagle. Unlike other birds, it soars alone at altitudes few can endure. Its solitude is not weakness, but strength. For in flying high, it escapes the noise and chaos of the lower skies. That is you. Your loneliness has not been isolation unto death, it has been elevation into realms where only the chosen can breathe. And yet, loneliness has not left you cold. Instead, it has carved empathy into you, because you know what it is to feel unseen. You will never again overlook the lonely around you. You will notice the quiet tears, the forced smiles, the silences between words. Your compassion has been sharpened in solitude, making you a carrier of comfort for others. Even now, you may still walk through seasons where companionship feels thin, but now you carry a new awareness. You are never truly alone. The unseen presence of God accompanies you. Angels surround you. Heaven's gaze never leaves you. And because of this, your loneliness has become a holy space where divine nearness is revealed. So, when you look back, do not despise your solitude. Remember it as the hidden forge where intimacy was born, where discernment sharpened, where empathy deepened. Loneliness did not break you, it refined you. Chosen one, your seasons of isolation were not wasted years. They were God's sacred school, where He taught you that being alone with Him is never truly being alone at all. And from this secret place, you now walk into the world carrying a light that has been kindled in the quietest corners of your soul. Loneliness has revealed that silence is not emptiness, but invitation. In those quiet spaces, you were drawn into a depth few ever know. Now, you carry a secret strength, companionship with God that no absence of people can take away. Being misunderstood has been one of the deepest pains of your journey. People judged your path without ever knowing your prayers. They saw your choices but not the sleepless nights behind them. They assumed your silence was weakness, when in reality, it was obedience. You were walking a road few could see. And because of that, many doubted you. This is the cost of a divine calling. It rarely looks logical to the natural eye. Noah looked foolish, building an ark when no rain had fallen. Abraham looked reckless, leaving home without knowing the destination. Mary looked scandalous when she carried a child. The world did not understand. And you, too, have carried the sting of being misunderstood. Yet, this misunderstanding has been proof of your calling. If your path could be explained in simple terms, it would not be extraordinary. The confusion of others became confirmation that you were walking according to a higher voice. Let me tell you a story. A young man felt called to leave his stable career to pursue a mission he could not fully explain. Friends warned him. Family shook their heads. Colleagues whispered behind his back. For years, he lived with labels: foolish, irresponsible, lost. But in time, the fruit of his obedience became undeniable. Lives were touched. Hope was restored. And the same people who doubted him came back to say, "Now we see." His misunderstood season was the seed of his testimony. The scriptures affirm this strange path, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 14, the person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of God, but considers them foolishness and cannot understand them. Do you see it? Spiritual things are hidden from natural understanding. The very fact that others could not comprehend you was not failure. It was evidence of divine fingerprints on your life. Being misunderstood has also shaped your humility. Instead of defending yourself with endless words, you learned to let time reveal the truth. You discovered that the fruit of obedience will always speak louder than arguments. In this way, your silence has been more powerful than explanation. Picture a lighthouse in the fog. Ships at sea cannot always see its foundation. They may doubt if it even stands. But when the storm rages and the waves rise, the light proves its presence without a single word. That is you. Your endurance through misunderstanding has become your shining proof. And now, I want you to take a step of faith. Comment, "I'm seen." 3 simple words. Why? Because though the world may have misunderstood you, heaven has always seen you clearly. When you write it, you declare that you no longer live by the opinions of others. You rest in the vision of the one who knows your heart. So, chosen one, do not despise being misunderstood. It has been your teacher. It has freed you from the cage of people's approval, and it has set your heart to walk more closely with God. Even when no one else walks beside you, the day will come when the fruit of your faithfulness will silence every doubt. Until then, keep walking, keep trusting, keep shining. For the misunderstanding of today will become the testimony of tomorrow. Misunderstanding is not a mark of failure, it is often a seal of distinction. The prophets were misunderstood. The apostles were accused. And even Jesus himself was constantly questioned by those who could not see his mission. To be misunderstood is to walk a road familiar to the great cloud of witnesses. When others judged you, they were seeing only fragments of your story. They did not know the private battles you fought in prayer, nor the instructions whispered to your heart in secret. They could not understand because the blueprint of your calling was never handed to them. It was entrusted only to you. This is why their words, though painful, could not define you. Their misunderstanding was like a veil placed over their eyes, preventing them from seeing the fullness of God's work in you. In time, that veil will lift, and truth will speak for itself. Until then, your obedience remains the loudest sermon. Understand this also: being misunderstood has given you freedom, no longer chained to human approval. You now walk in alignment with heaven's voice. This freedom is priceless, for it allows you to move boldly, unafraid of rejection, anchored only in God's will. So take heart. Your misunderstood season is not wasted. It is shaping resilience, sharpening humility, and proving authenticity. And when the fruit of your journey blossoms, those who once doubted will recognize that you were never walking blindly, you were walking by faith. The tears you shed in secret were never wasted. Every cry, every whisper, every sigh that escaped your heart in the midnight hour was gathered by heaven. You thought they disappeared into the dark, but God was collecting them like jewels, storing them in His bottle, remembering every single one. There is something holy about hidden tears. They do not flow in front of crowds. They are not seen by people, but they carry the rawest form of worship. Surrender. They say, God, even when it hurts, I still choose you. And that kind of worship, birthed in brokenness, is more precious than gold. Think of a rainstorm falling on dry earth. To the passerby, it looks messy, inconvenient, unwanted. But to the soil, those drops mean life, awakening seeds that were waiting underground. In the same way, your tears watered the soil of your destiny. What seemed like loss was actually nourishment for your future. There was once a mother who wept nightly over her child, who had wandered far from faith. Years went by with no change, yet she refused to stop praying. Her pillow was soaked, her voice hoarse, but her tears became the language heaven understood. In the end, her child returned, transformed, carrying a testimony that shook many. Her hidden tears had not been in vain, and the Word reminds us of this truth. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 56, Verse A. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one. Do you see the tenderness of God here? Not one tear was overlooked. Not one moment of pain was ignored. Each drop was sacred to Him, chosen one. It's time to reframe your tears. They were not weakness, but intercession. They were not evidence of defeat, but of courage. For in those moments, when you could have hardened your heart, you chose instead to keep it soft before God. That softness is strength. Now, pause with me. If this message has touched your heart, consider how many others still sit in the dark, feeling like their tears are meaningless. By simply liking and sharing this word, you become like a messenger carrying water jars to a village in drought. Every click is a drop of life poured into someone else's dryness. By subscribing, you remain part of the flowing river, always connected to the source of refreshing. And for those whose hearts feel stirred even deeper, there is also the beauty of giving. To donate is not a duty. It is like placing a candle inside a window on a stormy night. You may never meet the traveler who sees it, but for them, that light becomes salvation. Your gift is not lost, it travels further than you know, illuminating paths you will never walk. Giving is not about weight, but fragrance. It must be free, voluntary, and beautiful like the perfume Mary poured at Jesus' feet. If your heart whispers yes, then let it be joy. If your heart says not now, then take these words as your gift today. Now let us return to you. Your tears have not only been gathered, they have been transformed. Out of your sorrow has come wisdom. Out of your grief has come compassion. Out of your breaking has come oil that will anoint others. What once seemed like weakness has become your crown. Think of gold refined in fire. It loses its impurities only by passing through heat. In the same way, your tears have refined your soul, washing away what did not belong, leaving behind purity and resilience. So never again despise your hidden tears. They are the quiet proof that you endured the hardest nights and still clung to faith. They are the testimony that your spirit would not let go, and they are the evidence that you are, indeed, one of God's chosen ones, tested, refined, and crowned through hidden tears. Your hidden tears were not only survival, they became the ink with which heaven rewrote your story. What felt like silent cries in the night turned into the melody of a testimony that will echo for generations. Others may never fully know the depth of what you endured, but the oil that flows from your life will speak louder than explanations. Out of your weeping, rivers of compassion now pour freely. So walk forward without shame. The crown you wear was polished in secret through tears, and now it shines for all to see. Hidden tears have become radiant proof that you are chosen, unshaken, and victorious. The test of surrender is one of the hardest for a chosen one. To lay down your will, your dreams, and even your understanding, and to trust the unseen hand of God, it feels like stepping into fire without assurance of what lies on the other side. Yet, surrender is the very soil where true faith grows. You know this test intimately. There were moments when everything in you wanted to fight, to hold tighter, to insist that your way was right. Yet the Spirit whispered, "Let go." And in that whisper, you faced the sharpest tension of all, obedience versus control. Every fiber of your being wanted clarity, but heaven was calling for trust. Surrender is not weakness, it is strength disguised. It takes more courage to place your plans on the altar than to cling to them. Abraham learned this when God asked him to place Isaac, the very promise of his old age, on the altar. That command made no sense. Why would God ask for the son he himself had given? And yet, Abraham obeyed. In that moment, surrender became revelation. He discovered that God was not taking away. He was providing a greater substitute. You, too, have known altars in your journey, times when you felt you were being asked to lay down the very thing you had prayed for, times when surrender felt like death. But in truth, it was planting. A seed must fall into the ground and die before it bears fruit. In the same way, your surrender was not the end, it was the beginning of multiplication. Think of the sailor who loosens his grip on the rope so that the wind can fill the sail. If he holds too tightly, the boat never moves. But if he lets go at the right moment, the wind carries him into a destination he could never reach by rowing. That is the essence of surrender. You stop rowing in exhaustion and let the wind of the Spirit take you farther than your strength could ever carry you. And the Scriptures confirm this truth. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 25, For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. 1. Surrender feels like loss, but it is the doorway to true life. In clinging, you lose. In releasing, you find. This paradox is at the very heart of the chosen one's journey. Let me tell you a story. A young musician dreamed of fame, of songs heard across the world, but the more he chased it, the emptier he felt. One day, broken and weary, he laid his guitar aside and prayed, "God, if this dream is not your will, I give it up." In that surrender, something shifted. He stopped striving for platforms and began to sing only for God. Years later, his songs born from surrender began to touch people deeply, not because they were polished, but because they carried authenticity. By losing his life, he found his true calling. Surrender also purges pride. It strips you of illusions that you are in control. It forces you to admit that your wisdom has limits, your plans have flaws, and your strength has an end. But in that humility, God's power finds room to move, for only empty hands can receive what heaven is offering. Think of water held in a closed fist. It leaks. It slips. It cannot be contained. But open your palm, and it fills, overflows, refreshes. Your surrender is that open hand. By releasing what you thought you had to control, you made space for God to pour what He had always intended. And though surrender is painful, it is never wasted. Every dream laid down is either resurrected in God's timing or replaced with something far greater. Nothing you surrender to God is ever truly lost. It is either purified, multiplied, or transformed into something you could not imagine. So if you wonder why God asked for the hardest sacrifice, remember this: He was not trying to strip you of joy. He was shaping you for joy that cannot be stolen. Your surrender was the threshold of freedom. And though it felt like death, it has produced in you a life deeper, stronger, and more radiant than you ever thought possible. Surrender was not about losing yourself, it was about finding the truest version of who you were created to be. What felt like ashes in your hands has now revealed itself as the soil of new beginnings. And from that place, you walk lighter, freer, no longer chained to fear. Your surrender has become your strength, your sacrifice transformed into crown. You have carried burdens others could not even imagine. Some of them were visible responsibilities, expectations, weighty roles placed on your shoulders. Others were invisible, the silent battles of your soul, the unspoken griefs you dared not share with anyone. And yet, though the cross was heavy, you bore it. Carrying a cross is never comfortable. It presses into your back, slows your steps, leaves you weary and trembling. There were moments you longed to set it down, to say, "I cannot walk another step." But you kept going. Even when your knees buckled, you pressed forward. That perseverance is what has marked you as a chosen one. The cross you carried was not punishment, it was placement. Heaven trusted you with weight because it knew you had the strength, not of your own, but through the one who walks beside you. Your burdens became the evidence of your divine rank. For only those destined for crowns are first asked to carry crosses. Think of Simon of Cyrene, pulled from the crowd to carry Jesus' cross for a moment. To others, it looked like humiliation, but in reality, It was holy privilege to place his hands where the Saviour's hands had been, to shoulder even a fragment of redemptive history. In the same way, your cross may have looked like shame to others, but in heaven's eyes, it was sacred, and the scriptures speak of this mystery. The ancient words recorded in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. If the Son himself endured a cross for glory, then the cross you have carried is not meaningless. It is preparing you for joy greater than sorrow, for honor greater than shame. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who carried the burden of providing for his family when everything seemed to collapse. Work was scarce, bills piled high, and the weight of responsibility nearly crushed him. But in those years, though unseen by most, he became a tower of faith for his children. Later, when life stabilized, his children testified, "We saw our father carry us with faith. That faith is why we now stand strong." His cross had left an inheritance of endurance. Your story is similar. The cross you bore has not just strengthened you, it has become a testimony for others. Your endurance is a map for those who will walk behind you. Your scars are signposts of survival, proof that the cross does not kill destiny, but refines it. Carrying heavy loads also revealed something important. You were never truly alone. Just as Jesus received help on the road to Golgotha, you, too, were carried in ways you did not see. Angels lifted you when your spirit was faint. The prayers of unseen intercessors covered you, and the Spirit of God himself breathed life into you when you felt like crumbling. Picture a bridge bearing immense weight. It creaks, it strains, but it does not collapse. Why? Because its foundations are anchored deep beneath the surface. You have been that bridge. The weight you bore did not crush you because your foundation was hidden in God. Others walked across your strength, not even realizing what it cost you. Yet heaven saw, heaven recorded, heaven honors. And here is the truth you must hold. Every cross has a crown. The weight you carried was not endless, it was purposeful. Just as the road of suffering led Christ to the throne, so your endurance through pressure is leading you into a season of recognition, not human applause, but divine affirmation. Now, as an act of faith, I invite you to leave a prophetic number in the comments. Write 555. This is not random. The number 5 represents grace, and when it is tripled, it speaks of overflowing, abundant, multiplied grace. By declaring 555, you are testifying that though the cross was heavy, grace was heavier still, and grace is what carried you to this very moment. So, remember this. Chosen one, you bore the heaviest cross, not because you were cursed, but because you were trusted, and now, because you endured. Heaven is releasing a greater measure of glory, honor, and joy upon your life. The crown is not far. It has already been forged in the fire of your endurance. And soon, you will see that every step under the weight of your cross was worth it. The number 555 is not just digits, it is declaration. In Scripture, 5 is the number of grace, and when multiplied, it becomes a flood of divine favor. Writing 555 is your testimony. Grace carried your cross. Grace lifted you, and grace will crown you. Betrayal is one of the sharpest fires a soul can walk through. It does not come from strangers, it comes from those you trusted most. If rejection wounds, betrayal cuts deeper still, because it breaks from the inside. To be betrayed is to feel the sting of love turned against you. You know this wound well. There were voices you trusted, hands you held, promises you believed, and some of those became daggers. The very ones you supported turned away when you needed them most. The ones you defended spoke against you when you were vulnerable. The pain was not simply in their actions, but in the shock of realizing that closeness does not always mean loyalty. Betrayal is the fire of refinement. It tests your heart in ways nothing else can, for in betrayal, bitterness waits eagerly at the door. It whispers, "Close your heart. Trust no one. Harden yourself, so this never happens again." And yet, even in that temptation, you chose differently. You chose to remain tender, to forgive even through tears, to entrust your pain to God rather than let it poison your soul. That choice is what sets you apart. Think of Joseph again, sold by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, traded as a slave. Their betrayal could have ruined him, but instead, it positioned him for destiny. The same brothers who betrayed him eventually bowed before him. What men meant for harm, God turned into good. Your story carries the same echo. Betrayal tried to bury you, but it only planted you. And the scriptures bear witness. It is written in the book of Micah, chapter 7, verse 5 and 6. Do not trust a neighbor, put no confidence in a friend. Even with the woman who lies in your embrace, guard the words of your lips. For a son dishonors his father. A daughter rises up against her mother. A man's enemies are the members of his own household. 1. This is not written to fill us with suspicion, but to prepare us. Even the closest ties may falter. And yet, betrayal is never the final word. Jesus himself knew this intimately. One of his 12, a friend who walked beside him, carried the money bag, and shared meals with him, betrayed him with a kiss. Yet Jesus, even then, called him friend. In that moment, Christ revealed the higher way. Betrayal cannot define you if love remains your anchor. There was once a woman who was betrayed by her dearest companion. Promises broken, trust shattered, and she was left with the pieces of her own heart. For a time, bitterness nearly consumed her. But one day, as she wept in prayer, she felt the Spirit whisper, "Release them, so I can release you." It was not easy, but step by step, she forgave. And in that forgiveness, her spirit was freed. She rose lighter, stronger, and eventually, her testimony helped others heal from their own betrayals. Betrayal is fire, but fire refines. It burns away illusions, forcing you to see clearly. It strips you of false dependencies, teaching you that only God's faithfulness is unshakable. It sharpens discernment, making you wiser in how you entrust your heart. And most of all, it makes you more like Christ, who bore betrayal without hatred, who forgave while still bleeding. Imagine gold in the furnace. Every betrayal has been heat against your soul, but the dross has been burning away. The fire did not destroy you, it purified you. What remains is not bitterness, but brilliance. You shine brighter now because you endured betrayal and came through still whole. And here is the deeper mystery. Betrayal has increased your authority because you know what it is to be wounded and still forgive. Your words now carry power when you comfort others. You can speak to the betrayed with credibility because you have walked their road. This is how your pain has become your platform. Chosen one. Do not despise the fire of betrayal. It was not meant to end you. It was meant to prove you, to reveal what could not be shaken. Your heart was tested in the flames, and though scarred, it emerged unbroken. That is victory. So today, hold your scars not as shame, but as medals of honor. They tell the world that betrayal tried to silence you, but failed. They declare that though friends turned into foes, heaven never abandoned you. And they remind you that the fire you walked through has left you not weaker, but stronger, purer, and more radiant. Your scars are not signs of defeat, but living proof that love triumphed over betrayal. What was meant to shatter you became the very fire that sealed your strength. Now, every step you take carries the fragrance of victory through forgiveness. Ashes are often seen as the end. They are what remains after fire has consumed everything. To human eyes, ash represent destruction, waste, loss beyond repair. But in the kingdom of God, ashes are never the end. They are the soil from which crowns are formed. You have known seasons where all seemed reduced to ashes. Dreams burned down. Relationships collapsed. Plans scattered like dust in the wind. You stood staring at ruins, asking if anything could be rebuilt. And yet, in those moments of despair, God was not absent. He was preparing resurrection. For it is often in the ashes that His greatest beauty emerges. The prophet Isaiah once spoke of this divine exchange: beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for despair. This is not poetic exaggeration, it is spiritual law. Ashes become the canvas on which God paints His glory. The darker the background, the brighter His colors shine. Think of Job, stripped of wealth, family, health left in the dust, scraping sores from his skin. His life looked finished, burned to ash. Yet from that place, restoration came, not partial, but doubled. His story is not remembered for his losses, but for the glory God brought forth from those ashes. And the scriptures affirm this hope, as declared in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3. To bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. And do you see it? God does not simply remove the ashes, He transforms them. He turns loss into testimony, sorrow into song, ruin into crown. Let me tell you a story. A man lost everything in a devastating fire: his home, his possessions, even his childhood photographs. Standing before the charred remains, he thought his life was over. But slowly, as the community gathered around him, as doors opened for rebuilding, he realized something profound. Though the fire had taken his possessions, it had also revealed treasures he never knew he had: faith, resilience, and relationships that proved unbreakable. Years later, his restored home stood as a testimony. From ashes came a crown. Ashes also strip away illusions. When all is reduced to nothing, you are forced to see what truly matters. Ashes burn away pride, comfort, distraction, leaving behind only the essentials. And in that place, you discover God in ways you never could when everything was intact. Imagine a forest after wildfire. At first glance, it looks like devastation, trees blackened, ground scarred, silence heavy. But wait long enough, and you will see small green shoots pushing through the soil. Life is not gone, it is waiting. The fire, though fierce, has made room for renewal. That is your life. Out of your ashes, shoots of new beginnings are already pushing through. Ashes also prepare you for empathy, because you know what it is to stand among ruins. You will never mock the broken. You will stand with them, offering hope that rises from your own story. If I came through, so can you. Your ashes become a bridge for others. And here lies the mystery. Ashes are never the end of the chosen ones. They are the middle, the turning point where God shifts the narrative. Your ashes were not punishment, but preparation. They were the raw material for the crown you now wear. So, when you look back at your ashes, do not see only destruction. See the hidden beauty God was weaving. See the foundation He was preparing. See the testimony He was crafting. For your ashes have already become the crown upon your head, a crown forged in fire, shining with the glory of endurance. Chosen one. The valley of ashes you walked through was not in vain. It was the sacred ground where God proved His power to bring beauty out of brokenness. And now, as you stand crowned, you carry living proof that ashes are never the final chapter. Your crown did not arrive polished. It was shaped through smoke and flame. Every loss that reduced you to ashes was secretly adding weight to the crown you now carry. What looked like an ending was really a forging. Others may only see the shine of your crown, but you will always know the story of its making. You will remember the ashes, the tears, the silence, and that memory will keep you humble, grateful, and full of compassion. So walk with dignity. The crown you wear is not only for you, it is a light for others who still stand in the ruins. When they see you, they will believe again. Ashes are not the end, and beauty always comes. Your testimony terrifies darkness. It is not merely the words you speak, it is the life you have lived, the endurance you have proven, the scars you now carry as evidence that you have survived what was meant to destroy you. Hell fears your story because it reveals a simple truth. Light is stronger than shadow. Always. Every battle you endured was not just for your own sake. It became a testimony. Every time you stood back up after falling, you preached a silent sermon louder than any pulpit. Every tear that became strength, every betrayal that became wisdom, every storm that became a stepping stone. These are the chapters of your living gospel. And darkness trembles when you tell your story because your survival exposes its failure. Think of it like this. When a prisoner escapes the chains of a dungeon, he doesn't just walk free, he proves the chains are breakable. That is why your testimony carries power. It is evidence that what bound you can no longer bind others. By sharing your story, you are unlocking doors for those who still sit in the dark. And Scripture confirms this mystery. It is written in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Your testimony is not just memory, it is a weapon. It is an arrow aimed directly at the heart of darkness, declaring that you are no longer captive, There was once a woman who survived years of abuse. For a long time, she kept silent, believing her voice was too small. But when she finally shared her story, healing flowed not only for her, but for those who listened. Her words became a river, washing wounds, breaking shame, planting courage. What was once her pain became her power. That is what your story is destined to do. Now pause for a moment. Think about how many lives are still chained, waiting for light. When you like and share this word, you are not just clicking a button, you are striking a match in a dark cave. You never know who is standing nearby, desperate for even the smallest flame to find their way out. By subscribing, you are keeping your lantern filled with oil, always ready for the next word that heaven pours to guide your path. And if this word touches your spirit, leave a comment. Light wins. 3 simple words, yet they carry weight. Each time you write them, you are declaring to yourself and to the unseen world that no matter how deep the night was, the light has already triumphed. And for those who feel stirred more deeply, consider this. To donate is not about giving something away, but about planting your testimony into someone else's soil. It is like taking a seed from your survival and dropping it into ground you may never walk. One day, that seed will grow into a tree of hope for someone you may never meet. Your giving is never about compulsion. It is like fragrance, only beautiful when it flows freely. Imagine a flower releasing its scent into the air. It does not struggle. It does not force. It simply gives. And the world around it is refreshed. If your heart whispers yes, then let it be joy. If your heart says not now, then take this message as the gift it was always meant to be. Darkness fears generous souls because generosity multiplies light. And every simple act, whether it is sharing, subscribing, commenting, or sowing, becomes another lamp in the night. The more lamps, the more the shadows recede. Now, let us return to you. Your testimony is not a story of survival alone. It is a banner of victory. Every scar you carry tells hell you failed. Every breath you take is proof that grace was stronger than attack. Every step you walk forward is a blow against the kingdom of darkness. Picture a battlefield after war. The enemy once marched proudly, but now the field is silent, except for the sound of survivors singing. That is you. Your song of survival has become a war cry, terrifying to darkness, liberating to others. So do not silence your voice. Tell your story. Live your testimony. For in doing so, you are not only declaring your victory, you are igniting victories in countless others. Your testimony is a flame that cannot be hidden. It burns quietly, yet every spark drives back the dark. Your scars are not shame, but living proof that endurance was stronger than despair, and hope never bowed to fear. So rise boldly, knowing your story is not over. Every step forward declares, the light has truly won. There comes a moment when heaven itself speaks, not through thunder or earthquake, but through the quiet seal placed upon your life. This is the seal of approval, a divine marking that no human hand can erase. You may have walked for years feeling unseen, doubted, or dismissed. But when heaven sets its seal on you, it is no longer about human recognition. It is the eternal confirmation that you belong to God, and your path is secured. Think of a king's seal in ancient times. A letter without the seal was just words, easily questioned or dismissed. But once the king pressed his emblem into the wax, the message carried the full weight of his authority. That is what God has done for you. Your life bears his imprint, and because of that, no power in hell can invalidate what he has spoken. You may not always feel chosen, but the seal is not dependent on your emotions. It rests on the promises of God. As the Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 13, "When you believed, you were marked in him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit." This seal is not visible to human eyes, but in the unseen realm, it glows with heavenly authority. Angels recognize it, demons tremble before it, and creation itself bends toward the chosen ones who bear it. There was once a man who felt his entire life was ordinary, even insignificant. He worked quietly, unnoticed, often wondering if God had truly called him. One night, in prayer, he sensed the Spirit whisper, "You are sealed. You are mine." From that moment, though nothing changed outwardly, he carried an unshakable confidence. His steps no longer wavered. He walked not for applause, but for the one who had already approved him. His story is a mirror of yours. The seal of heaven is also a shield. When storms rage, when accusations rise, when enemies attempt to strip you of dignity, the seal stands. It is a reminder that your destiny cannot be revoked by human tongues or hindered by human hands. What God has sealed, no one can unseal. Think of Noah's Ark. When the floodwaters came, the ark was sealed shut by God himself. That seal kept Noah and his family safe, untouched by the chaos outside. In the same way, your life has been sealed by the Spirit. Though the waters rise and storms rage, you are preserved within the covenant of God's promise. This seal also speaks of ownership. You belong not to fear, not to failure, not to the opinions of others, but to the Lord who purchased you with his blood. To be sealed is to walk in the security of divine possession. You are God's treasure, marked as his, and guarded with a jealous love. There was a woman who endured years of ridicule because of her faith. Family dismissed her. Friends abandoned her. But she never let go of God's hand. Over time, those around her began to notice something different, a peace that never left, a joy that glowed even in sorrow. They could not explain it, but it was the seal shining through her life. She carried evidence that she belonged to heaven, and no ridicule could erase it. The seal of heaven also marks you for purpose. Just as documents sealed by a king carried authority to accomplish his will, your life carries the weight of divine assignment. Wherever you step, the unseen realms recognize that you walk not in your own name, but in the name of the one who sent you. Imagine walking through a battlefield with the banner of a great kingdom. Enemies might hate you, but they cannot deny the banner you bear. That is you. Your seal is not just for protection, it is for mission. It proclaims that you are heaven's ambassador, carrying light into darkness. So, when you question your worth, remember the seal. When you doubt your calling, remember the seal. When you fear rejection, remember the seal. For heaven has marked you, and no rejection on earth can undo what God himself has approved. Chosen one, you are sealed with eternity's stamp. Walk boldly in that truth. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are not overlooked. You are not fragile. You are sealed, secured, and sent. And all of creation leans in awe when heaven's chosen ones walk the earth with the seal of God upon them. The seal upon you is unbreakable. It whispers in every trial, "You are mine." No failure, no betrayal, no darkness can erase it. Carry this truth like a banner. Wherever you walk, heaven's signature walks with you, testifying that you are chosen, secured, and destined for glory. Crowning is never sudden. It is the culmination of every hidden battle, every silent prayer, every unseen sacrifice. Crowns are not handed out cheaply, they are forged in fire, shaped by endurance, and polished by faith that refuses to break. The truth is, chosen one, you are stepping into destiny with a crown not made by men, but bestowed by heaven itself. You have walked through valleys where shadows tried to consume you. You have climbed mountains where the air was thin and your strength was nearly gone. You have endured storms that others did not survive. And now, the crown you wear is not merely symbolic, it is evidence that you have finished the race marked out for you. Crowns carry weight. To wear one is not just to shine, but to bear responsibility. The crown you carry now is not ornamental, it is authority. It speaks to the unseen world that you belong to the King, that you represent his kingdom, that your life has been set apart. Think of the Apostle Paul, who declared at the end of his journey, "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness." Crowns are reserved for those who endure, not for those who start, but for those who finish. And you, chosen one, have proven you are a finisher. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who grew up with nothing. Poverty, rejection, and hardship marked his early years. People dismissed him, told him he would never rise above his beginnings. But he clung to God's promises, even when circumstances gave him no reason to hope. Years later, after countless trials, he stood honored, respected, and established. The same people who doubted him could not deny the crown of dignity and grace upon his life. His story reflects yours, and Scripture reveals the same promise. As written in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." The crown of life is not merely for eternity. It begins now. It is the authority you carry in your spirit, the unshakable joy that shines in your eyes, the wisdom that flows from your lips, the peace that radiates even in storms. These are the jewels in your crown, visible to all who encounter you. Crowns are also recognition, not the fleeting applause of men, but the eternal acknowledgement of heaven. Angels know your name. The Father calls you his own. The Son intercedes for you, and the Spirit dwells within you as the seal of your inheritance. This is the true coronation, unseen by many, but undeniable in its power. Imagine a warrior returning from battle, scarred but victorious. The crown placed upon his head is not for looking pristine, but for enduring what others could not. That is you. Your scars have become your jewels. Your tears have become your diamonds. Your perseverance has become your gold. And your crown now reflects the weight of everything you have overcome. Crowns also shine for others. They are not meant to stay hidden. When you walk crowned, you give hope to those who are still fighting. You show them that victory is possible, that endurance has a reward, that faith is never in vain. Your crown is not only your honor, it is their inspiration. And so, you step forward now, crowned for eternity. Your destiny is no longer a question, it is a reality. Your life testifies that the road of hardship is also the road of glory, that trials are the pathway to triumph, that those who carry the heaviest crosses are also those who wear the brightest crowns. Chosen one. The time of proving has ended. The time of shining has come. Walk tall. Carry your crown with humility, and know that all of heaven stands in applause as you move forward, marked by victory, secured in love, and destined for everlasting glory. Your crown is not fragile, it was forged in storms. Every gust of wind, every flame, every blow only strengthened its shine. This crown is not borrowed, it is eternal. It cannot be stolen, cannot be traded, cannot be broken, for it is sealed by heaven's hand. So wear it boldly, not with pride, but with reverence. Let your crown be a beacon for others, reminding them that endurance is never wasted and that glory always follows suffering. Chosen one. You have reached the closing of this journey. But in truth, it is not an ending, it is the unfolding of something far greater. You have endured storms, walked through fire, risen from ashes, and carried the heaviest burdens. Yet you now stand crowned with strength and dignity. Your life itself is the testimony that light always outlasts darkness. What you carry is not meant to stay hidden. Your story, your endurance, your flame. It is a beacon for those who are still searching for hope. When you like and share this message, you are scattering sparks into the night sky, never knowing who will see them and find courage to keep walking. Your voice matters here. By leaving a comment, even a simple phrase, you are carving your mark into this moment, like a torch fixed in the ground to guide those who will come after you. To subscribe is to plant your roots by the river, ensuring you remain nourished as new streams of encouragement and truth continue to flow into your life. And if your heart feels drawn deeper to donate, is like scattering seeds into the wind. You may never see where they land, but one day they will bloom into wildflowers in places you will never walk, offering beauty and shade to souls you may never meet. So rise. Chosen one. Wear your crown not just as a symbol of survival, but as a light for generations. Carry your flame into the night, knowing it is not only your destiny that shines, but the hope of many who will find their way because of you.